Yeah, we're getting everything lubed up. We're just getting everything covered in sauce and peanuts. I'm gonna open my beer. Hi. Oops. Wrong thing. I need to put some new transitions in here. I had a bunch, and then I had to reset OBS, and I never put them back in here. Yeah, you can just do this. You guys don't need me to actually do the podcast. You can just do it yourselves in chat. Can you guys tell that my camera is different? Let me ask you that. Yeah, we got the dark theme. Yeah, pretty good, huh? Open people's eyes out at night because we're going late tonight, and also we'll probably just stick with this because people probably watch it at night sometimes. And that white was pretty. Different angle now, it looks the same. Yeah, cool. No, I think. Okay, here's Mike. Let's see here. I have his video. He's typing to me. Let's see what he says. Lol, nope. Okay, hang on. Okay. Can you hear me in Discord? Unmute me in Discord. Hello, can you hear me? You have the wrong mic selected in Discord though. Yeah, no problem. All right. Did you buy the PSU? No. If I'm gonna buy a PSU, I'm not gonna do one on. I'm not gonna do it like on Amazon. I'm just gonna go to Best Buy and get one. Or I could drive to Micro Center. I just don't know if Micro Center is open for me to walk in. I guess I don't know if Best Buy is either. Man, pandemic, huh? Okay. Jedi Fallen Order on Switch would be incredible. I'd be happy with that. I don't think we're gonna get it. Wait, what are you saying, Mike? What are you talking? They can't hear you. Let me make it so they can hear.
Yeah, I was just ignore me.
Yeah, that's a better idea. Let's ignore him. Nick winks. Yeah. I think we're going to see more, more of those older Star Wars games probably. I mean, Republic Commando leaked, right? It leaked. So probably that. What was and that Star Wars Hunger Games from Zynga, very much not showing any gameplay from that. A strategic choice, I believe. What do you guys think that game's going to look like? I bet it looks a little bit better than what you're going to expect. And I bet when you play it, you're going to be like, this is a Zynga-ass Zynga game. You can go into Best Buy where I live. Yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. We're getting hunters and we're going to be happy with that.
I still think I know what's wrong. I'm just trying to figure out where to find the setting. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, take your time, man. It's fine. We're good. No, it's Friday night. No one's going anywhere, right? Everyone can hang out. I could tell people we're going to start soon. I get the tweet written at least. How about I do that? There we go. right, let me get the URL. All right, there we go. If we just written, ready to go. I just gotta remember to hit send when it's time. You know what? Well, while he's fixing his thing, let me mess with my audio. That's always a good idea. Gain. What did I want to do? What did I want to mess with? Not my gate. My gate's fine.
Why are we blue now?
Because it's night mode. The white was too much for people. I think someone made this for us, so it was to protect their eyes. We could probably do it with the orange color though. We like spice orange people, so.
I do like spice orange. I was concerned.
Yeah.
All right, my thing I thought was going to fix it didn't fix it.
Well, I mean, what microphone do you have selected in Discord?
Oh, 1 second. Did I not fix that at least?
I don't know. Maybe you did. I just can't. I can't tell for sure. Double check.
I got distracted. Test. Okay. All right, it's the right microphone now. Yeah, so it was everything switched to like the microphone on my webcam. So I thought that was the issue, and then I switched it back, and it didn't matter for Zencaster. It was still unhappy.
Okay. All right. Well, I've closed Zencaster, so we're good there. I'm gonna make sure. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I just need to do one thing and make sure that the audio is going to record to 2 separate tracks here in OBS. That's the big thing. So let me make sure that is how it's going to work. Output audio.
It's annoying though.
Yeah. Master Jeff guest. Yes. Start recording. Okay. Yeah, it's annoying. We'll just have to figure it out. We will at some point. If Zencaster's just going to be kind of crappy now, we can go back to Cast, or there's a couple new ones that work this way. We'll figure it out.
What did Nintendo Shack have me use? It seemed to work.
Yeah, what did they? I think they use did they use StreamYard or something? I don't know. I'll figure it out.
I'll have to ask it.
Yeah. All right. Let me get the rundown here. Let me get your camera live for everybody. Let me hit the transition button. There we go. You are now there. Let me get here. Everyone can hear me and Mike, right? And then.
Hello.
I guess let me turn you up a little bit.
Take the glasses off.
Okay. All right. Let's do this. All right, Mike, I'm ready. How about you? Got it. Okay. You said yes, I'm assuming. I think you have to hit the push to talk, but
gosh, I remember.
Okay. No worries. No worries.
I got this.
I know you do. I have full confidence in you, Mike. I got my beer. I don't care, honestly, if you have it or not. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Game Speak Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything happening in the world of video games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeffrey Grubb, and with me is
Mike Minotti.
Today's news, games, things are happening. It's late on a Friday night, people. Well, this is going to be this is what the show is going to be tonight. We pushed things late because Mike had a very busy day with BlizzCon, and frankly, I haven't talked to him about it yet. That's what I'm most interested to hear about. Mike, how are you feeling after that long day?
I mean, I'm fine. I did get to start later today because I knew I was going to be working so late today. So, although my idiot dog still woke me up at 8 a.m. So then I was like, I need to get a couple more hours of sleep, but there's no way I'm making it through. So then I was in bed and tossing and turning, but I'm here. I'm okay. I made it through. I've it's not as exhausting as actual BlizzCon, So
Right. That's fair. Do you have any tricks to like get back to sleep when you like want to get those extra hours and your body's not letting you?
Oh, gosh, I have to remind myself that like I'll always go back to bed and be like, I'm not hungry. I don't need to go to the bathroom, and I know I'm going to in 2 minutes. And the important thing is that I gotta put it in and let it out before I even try to get back to sleep.
Yeah.
I hope you're all picturing me letting it out now, whatever that means.
Yeah, no, I'm purposely and specifically blocking those mental images, Mike. But thank you for asking.
We got Edmund Fitzgerald Porter from Great Lakes Brewery.
Just a classic, a classic. I'm drinking the it's an Indian Pale Ale, but I just got it out of the variety package from Odell Brewing Company because I really just wanted stuff from Odell, which is a brewery out here that I love.
You usually have anti-IPAs in the winter, but this winter they've been refreshing from time to time.
Yeah, and there's a couple of winter IPAs that they put in there, and that's actually what I got it for. And then when I get the regular IPAs, I'm like, oh no, I'm still pretty happy with this right now. Yeah, I know. So we got our beers, we got our news. First, though, I want to thank everybody for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me at gamesbeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email the podcast, games+podcast@venturebeat.com. That's the plus sign. Get us on Twitter at GamesBeat. Thank you to Carlos Ayin, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube for the use of our theme song. If you are listening to this on the website player widget, if you are watching on YouTube, you can subscribe to the audio version of the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever pods are caught. And if you like the show, rate us on Apple Podcasts because that helps people find the show. The new stuff that I added recently, join the Discord. Link is in the description. Both that's for the YouTube description. Just scroll down below, you'll find it. Or in the on your podcast app, if you swipe to the left, I think you'll find the information there. Support the show by supporting me at patreon.com/Jeff Grubb. That gets you access to some private stuff in my Discord and just it's treat it like a tip jar. It's kind of how I'm thinking about it right now. All right, yeah, that does it for the credits. Mike, we have a lot of news, particularly because of Nintendo Direct and now BlizzCon. Which one do you want to do first?
Let's do Nintendo. BlizzCon isn't anything super crazy, to be completely honest. Let's start with Nintendo.
Yeah, so I put all of the announcements from the Nintendo Direct in here, and I do not feel the need to go over a lot of them, but I guess let's start with how you felt about this Nintendo Direct, because there's been a lot of chatter about that, people's responses to it. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was I thought it was good. I thought it was better than fine. Maybe because I lowered my expectations so much. I don't know. And I'm sure it helps that I actually like Skyward Sword. But I was surprised how many people seem to be completely down on it. Like, it certainly seemed at least good enough to me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy, but I was surprised. I guess I wasn't too surprised that people were very dismissive of Skyward Sword. The Smash character reveal, I guess, wasn't for everyone. I was surprised how many people no-sold Splatoon 3.
Yeah, that's what's happening right now. Very hardcore. And I get it. The date is 2022. And so people don't.
In video game terms, 1 year away. Is that? I mean, I know that they said this is going to be early 2021 games. And all
they always say stuff like that, though. They always say that, and there's always stuff that goes beyond. They've never stuck to that like very much. The no selling Splatoon 3 has been weird to me to an extent. I was very excited by that.
10 copies or something, and those games are great.
Yeah, and
it's not like something like, oh, I thought it was going to be like a single-player Splatoon based on the beginning. All the Splatoon games have great single-player campaigns, and this one will too.
Yep. Yeah, this one, maybe they'll do more. If the game is still your way, they're going to show it a couple more times. But I was very excited to see it there, and I think that probably was the difference for me. Is they did that. I do like Skyward Sword, and I thought there was just a lot of games in there. Stuff that there was a leak right beforehand, and there's Project Triangle Strategy. That sounds absurd. That's going to be a really dumb thing. And they show it. It's like, oh, this is just a new Final Fantasy Tactics, basically.
Right.
That's
and
pretty exciting.
And at first I was like, oh, but I didn't really like Octopath Traveler. But my issue with Octopath Traveler was all in the structure and the whole 8 heroes thing. And this won't have that. So yeah, I'm excited for this. This should be great.
And I thought Mario Golf was great to see as well. I look,
is it like, I'm not doing cartwheels about it, but it looks good. They said it's going to have the story-based RPG mode. So yeah, I thought that was, I guess unless you were that's the thing with Nintendo, right? Everybody has very specific things that they want to see. So there are some people who were only going to be happy if they saw Metroid, only going to be happy if they saw like the Wind Waker or Breath of the Wild 2. I guess so. I guess I can understand, but yeah, I liked it fine. I'm not saying I was blown away or anything, but I thought it was good. I
But
thought it was worth the direct.
isn't it just like, oh, this is a nice meaty direct, and then June is still coming. Like June's right there.
Right.
We are
Yeah,
like it's
some
time.
people are like acting like, oh, now Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are never coming to Switch.
Right.
I mean, it is Nintendo. Maybe they never will. Who knows? But it's still likely that they are.
It's yes, it is. It's likely. I think we have some questions about that, so we'll probably talk about that then. But I was happy with it. I guess I get it to an extent. You know what I don't get is people saying that it's like really disappointing and really bad, and it should have been like 20 minutes and just the Nintendo stuff. And I thought it had the same cadence it always has. I guess I mean. There hasn't been a lot since Animal Crossing, and people want the next big thing. And we know that they're making Metroid, we know that they're making Breath of the Wild 2, so I get it. But also we know that they're making those games, and if they're not mentioning them now, it's probably because they're going to mention them at E3, and I think they want to save it for that time. I guess I always assumed they were going to save the big stuff for that time frame. And I guess we were talking in the Discord before, some people, and they're like, oh, they're not going to like do a lot about Zelda. There's going to be a bad reaction there. I'm like, oh, is there? I guess I didn't really think about it that way. Like, yeah, you can expect maybe some Zelda thing. Maybe they'll tease that there's going to be more later this year, but they got to get past Mario first. The Mario March 31st like cutoff for Mario stuff hasn't happened yet. Once that happens, then they'll start talking about a Zelda anniversary, but they're not going to mention that until after that Mario stuff's over.
I've been thinking about this a lot. I think it's funny how much we're kind of acting indignant of them not celebrating 35th anniversaries enough. That's not a real thing. Like 35th anniversaries are not important. It's just a multiple of 5. Like they did it for Mario because it's Mario and it's a great marketing stunt, and I'm sure they're going to still have that be a thing for Zelda. But it's not like it's the 35th anniversary of this franchise. They better do something. That's just disrespectful, right? Like that isn't an actual anniversary number, right?
No. I was like looking it up. I'm like, is 35th anniversary a thing in Japan? Like maybe culturally it's important. I didn't find anything. So, Mike, I think you might be right. It might just be a made up thing that they want to sell us Mario stuff, so they did it. And if they want to sell us Zelda stuff, they might do the same thing then. But if they don't, it wouldn't be that crazy. 35th anniversaries go by all the time with no one saying anything. So
yeah, 35, it doesn't really matter.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like look through this list and see if there's anything else I want to mention.
Before we do that, we did get a super chat from Low Rule Legend for $3. He said, "Do you think that your direct mini scoop from what last year now? Do you think that helped propel you? Are you propelled, sir? Is that what propelled you?"
I mean, yes, probably, right? Like that was yes, that's when it started, right? I think if I hadn't had that one, I had some other scoops after that, and I had scoops before that. But I think if I hadn't had that one, the scoops after that would have been like the ones before, which mostly went by and most people didn't notice or care or make much note of.
You had the Battlefield 5 scoop before that, but you thought it was called Battlefield 2, and also everybody didn't like that game so much that it only had negative energy associated with it. It didn't really help you. And also,
I immediately, as soon as I posted the story, I got more information and corrected it to say Battlefield 5 or whatever it was. But yeah, you're right. People didn't care about it, so yeah, that's what happened there. You're not wrong. Yes, I think it probably propelled me for sure.
And I'm grabbing onto those coattails for dear life.
Good luck, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it makes any difference. Tell me about Pyra and Mirtha. Is that how you say it? Is that how you're supposed to say it?
Pyra and Mithra.
Is it Pyra and Mithra? I hope it is, because that's how it should be. But all right.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I played that stupid game for 80 hours. I better know.
You better know, honestly. Yeah. Was this good? Was this like a good reveal? Is this exciting for you?
No. Man, I'll tell you what. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That is the review score I think I regret the most, because I gave it an 80, and I think I should have given it like a 65 or something.
Well, what would you have done with the 5-star scale?
It would have been a 3. That's
Three.
why I think I would have given it a 3 back then, even maybe I don't know. But and I don't know why I was more generous to it back then. Maybe it's just so early on in the Switch life cycle. I don't know. But yeah, some people love that game, which is fine. But to me, that game is it's simultaneously very simple and it's like themes and its dependence on anime tropes and just kind of boring characters, but also overly complicated in terms of like how big the world is, how bizarre the combat system works, the weird gotcha mechanics
Hmm.
thrown in there with getting your blades or whatever they're called. It's not an awful game, but it is a Nintendo joint and it was a hit. So I'm not too surprised there was Xenoblade. I am glad it's not Rex, who's like the actual main character, because he is
He
like the
seemed
most
real annoying in that
annoying.
video. Yeah.
He's the most annoying vanilla way for JRPG protagonist. I mean, he's Shulk's not much better, but he's a little bit better. And I talk about this all the time. Their defining characteristic is that they're very nice.
Yeah, they seemed like some white bread, man. They seemed like some real
Yeah,
Wonder Bread. Yeah.
right. But in like Pyra also is like her main character trait is also that she's very nice. And there's also something creepy about her because she's such like an obvious male fantasy, right? Like obviously the body is one thing, but again, she's just very nice and supportive of Rex, and like they also make a very big point about how she can cook really well, and it just all makes me uncomfortable. Yeah,
Oh no.
it makes me uncomfortable. And then Mithra is just like the opposite. Like I'm sure it has a name, but she's like the more like stern type
Right.
of
Yeah,
that.
it's one of those
You know?
sundares or sundares and
Yeah,
all
no,
those dares. I don't know the difference. Mike, I don't know them.
Onisama. Is it Onisama? Is that a thing? I think
You're
like
asking the
politicians are,
wrong
like,
fella.
Onisama.
Yeah.
It might be that, but yeah, so they're tropey. Their chest size is ridiculous. Whatever, but it is. I'm not gonna say I care that much about it, but I'm also not going to ignore it. It's insane. I think they're definitely better than Rex. It's more sword characters, so that's a little weird. It's not the most exciting, right? It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I get it. I guess.
There's two more after this, right?
Yeah, there's two more.
Do you think that either of those are a similar sort of Nintendo first party thing like this and like Fire Emblem character guy?
Well, I think they've learned their lesson on Fire Emblem. No, I mean like
Three Houses was a Nintendo first party thing. This was a Nintendo first party thing.
Toad is the one I almost expect still. It's where that Toad in some form isn't a playable character in Smash Brothers yet, right?
Yeah.
No Toad.
Huh.
So you have Captain Toad, so you could do that. So maybe it seems like people get more excited about the third party ones, right? And I think they're aware of that. It's just a matter of making deals there.
Like even people they didn't know who Terry was, and you definitely heard that. A lot of kids didn't.
Yeah,
but
apparently
it still seemed exciting. It still seemed like people were like, I don't know who he is, and this is cool.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting the same vibes here. I guess people mostly know who these characters are and maybe just don't like the games. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I guess. So you think Toad? Do you have any other guesses for the next two characters?
I mean, at this point, it's like it seems like a lot of ones people are guessing eventually show up. I still feel like Crash Bandicoot would show up at some point. Why not? It's just maybe Activision is just really doesn't want to play ball on that, right?
Right.
Depends. Like some developers, like Square Enix has been happy to play ball for sure. We know Capcom's been fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at this point the range is so open anymore. Who really knows? So I guess that's what the possibilities are infinite now. So I guess when it is something that you kind of expect, like characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it is.
Yes. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I think that might have been another thing, a huge factor in why people found the show disappointing. Is it was it started with I guess Splatoon 3. I'm excited, but it was expected. We kind of knew they were going to make another one. The Splatoon games are very successful, especially in Japan. And then it starts with a character that is for Smash that is from a Nintendo game, so it's inherently less surprising. So maybe people just kind of want those big hype moments, and I guess we've maybe gotten over the hype industrial complex that we've had in the industry a little bit, to the point where we're like, yeah, I'm just happy to play many of these games, and I think that helps make the direct work for us a little bit better.
Ring Fit Girl was probably another like first party Nintendo thing.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, or the actual dragon, the dragon from Ring Fit. With my.
No, I haven't actually. I know it's hard to tell from looking at me, but I haven't played Ring Fit.
You look just like the buff dragon, Mike Drago. Absolutely, you should look it up.
Hey, was that $2 super chat from Georgie? Jeff, he's talking to you. Can you look into the Conquer Obsidian Reddit post? Apparently, there is a Conquer Obsidian Reddit post. I assume about Obsidian working on a Conquer game.
Yeah,
you know anything about this?
I'll look into it. Yeah, I have no idea.
Why doesn't he want me to look into it?
I don't. Hey, honestly, let's have Mike. Hey, Georgie, let's have Mike look into it and see what we can find out here. I'll look into it. We will look into it and we'll see what we can find.
It's pretty busy to be working on Conquer.
I agree. I agree with that. Maybe it's something they're sniffing around, but I don't know. I feel like there are other things. I guess I can't think off the top of my head what they would be, but I feel like there's other things that would come back before Conquer. I feel like Conquer's one where it's like, okay, we have gotten some real big AAA hitters out of the way from these studios. Let's do something fun now. Then they do Conquer, maybe. But over the next couple of years.
In 2021,
I haven't played it.
I don't know.
I haven't really gone back and played it. I wonder if any of it holds up. I think there's some people that claim it does, but I haven't.
Even aside from that, like, I'll be honest, I never liked Conquer very much, but it certainly made sense at that time to make that kind of game. Yes. Now, I don't know, especially imagining Microsoft getting behind. I don't think so, but that's just a gut thing. That's not based off any fact. It would seem like, of all things to bring back, that one would seem a little strange to me.
I agree.
There's like, we have Mecha Assault, bring back Crimson Skies.
Crimson Skies is the one I was actually thinking of. Yeah,
right. I mean,
Blast Core, yes. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that rare collection that if they kind of went back, like even like an RC Pro-Am, like just as like a Battletoads level kind of game, that would be cool. I don't know. Conquer seems like it'd have to be a big game. It'd have to like be bombastic and sort of high budget, and I think that's a tough one to pull off.
If anything, they would want to, like, they brought back Battletoads because they could do it cheaply, right?
Yeah,
that's why Battletoads came back. So if anything, it's like, you know, maybe they'll get Platonic, the ukulele people to make a new Conquer game. I don't think they're gonna get Obsidian on that.
No,
especially like, what does Obsidian have to do with 3D platformers? I don't know. It seems weird to me.
Yeah, it seems weird to me too. I'll look into it though. My guess is for Microsoft overall that they're going to be playing catch up through most of this year, and their E3 will probably be inherently disappointing, especially if it takes them time to integrate Bethesda into their if Bethesda needs to operate as like an independent entity for a little bit longer, even after they bought them, like Microsoft's E3 and Bethesda's E3 could actually still be separate. Like they're planning their stuff right now, and they're still planning it as two separate companies. And if like they don't have time to maybe make those things melt together, like in the couple of months starting in March to June, that's not a lot of time. Microsoft could feel pretty barren. My hope for them would be if they have Starfield or any one big game from Bethesda could like make people forget about that. But I think if you're just like looking for stuff from Microsoft, like through this year, it might be a bit tough. It might be kind of barren for a while still.
I'm sure Microsoft would love if they could show like something significant of Elder Scrolls 6, right? Even if it's just the actual title.
I'm sure
they would love that, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Honestly, bring back Banjo Kazooie over Conquer.
Yeah, Banjo deserves to come back. Nuts and Bolts is actually a really good game, but
okay. Let's not get crazy.
Nuts and Bolts is a fantastic game. Yeah. It is. Oh, I do not like you, Mike. You don't even like SteamWorld Dig 2. You are disgusting.
Yeah, it was pretty boring.
Oh my god, I can't stand. I wish I never played Ori. I wish I never played it. I wish I never would have let you made it Game of the Year.
Oh. No matter how the director feels about Game Journalism, take it back.
Oh.
Hey, tell me about what else happened at Nintendo Direct. So we have Smash Brothers. We have boobs. What else?
Star Wars Hunters from Zynga is the next thing that stands out on this list. I don't know if we like.
This was our most popular story.
Was it really? I didn't look.
Yeah. Congrats.
Yeah.
It's all a competition.
Oh yeah. They didn't show gameplay, and I think that was a choice, a deliberate one. And so this game, when they sent the press release, quite a bit after the show ended. Like one of the first lines I read was, "Oh, it's coming to the Switch, and you'll also be able to download it for free. Like you'll be able to download it for free on Switch when it comes out, but also on iOS and Android." And it's like, oh, it is just a mobile game, and it's coming to Switch. And excuse me, look, I think that almost there is some sense to be made there. Switch is a mobile device. You can't take it anywhere.
This kind of thing. We've seen some mobile games come to Switch.
Yeah, there's that Sky game from that game company, which is, that was a mobile game. It works on Switch. It makes sense. But boy, it kind of wasn't what I had my hopes up for when, you start a trailer and you see Star Wars stuff, and I was hearing rumors about like a smaller Star Wars game coming. For me, yeah, exactly. Not this small. Yeah. My hopes for that is always like, okay, something with like a low budget, maybe from an indie team, maybe something that's like just trying to like get the vibe of Shadows of the Empire and stuff like that. But no, this is not going to be that. This is just going to be microtransactions.
Are lower than a Padawan's ankle.
A Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. Any interest there for like the trilogy?
I remember Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 were pretty good. These are the newer ones, quote unquote, not like the NES ones.
Right.
Everyone hated 3 from what I can remember, so whatever there. But yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah. PvZ is coming.
I never cared about PvZ.
Plants vs. Zombies, for people that are wondering. Yeah.
I don't care about tower. I was just thinking the other day about how happy I am that tower defense isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so this is not a tower defense game. This is the shooter game.
Yeah, but even those, I never cared about.
I got a weird urge to play tower defense the other day. I'm not gonna scratch it because it's gonna go away. But I'm kind of like with you, where like that it got played out for sure.
Yeah, Anti-Macro said that, and I've heard people say this. He's not interested in Ninja Gaiden because it's the Sigma versions, which is like the kind of re-releases of those they did at some point. Let me know why that is.
Yeah, someone else, Georgie just said the same thing. Hard pass. So yeah, I don't know.
Worse about all I knew was that they were newer, so I assumed they had improvements. So I'm curious how they messed things up, which obviously didn't happen.
Yeah, the Famicom Detective Club. I guess this is just really modern remakes of Famicom detective games.
Famicom did visual novels made by Nintendo, so kind of neat. I'm disappointed because there was rumors that the Great Ace Detective, which was those two Phoenix Wright spin-off games that they made, where it was like you were playing as his ancestor. I think it may have even been Sherlock Holmes or something like that. That those were getting bundled together for Switch. So I thought that this was going to be that at first, and those games were finally coming to the US, but it's not that.
It's, you know what, I'm actually super mad about this because you're going to put this budget towards Famicom Detective Club, some bullshit visual novel games, and you could just take that same budget and remake Famicom Wars for the Nintendo, and just give me an Advance Wars like game. The first game in that series. Do that instead. That game, I think, would definitely. Well, who knows? Maybe this game has waifus or something. So I don't know.
That they've been spending money lately localizing these games like this, and they haven't done Mother 3. And I'm not even one of those people who cares all that much about Mother 3 necessarily, but I still don't understand why they just won't do it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. There is no explanation. It's like I think the only explanation anyone ever comes up with is like, oh, they're saving it. Either they're saving it or they don't care, and I guess
like for what?
Yeah, I know. For what? Yeah.
Georgie said about Ninja Gaiden. So apparently, Sigma 2 was toned down, less enemies, less score. Sigma 1 was fine. He says. Hey, Danny Zimmerman also just gave us $5. I'm reading this right now. Have either of you seen the recent interview with the voice actor for Agent 47? I thought it was interesting, and he seems like a badass. No, but I'm glad he seems like a bad. It would, I would hate it if he came off like Pete Herman. So I'm glad he came off like a badass.
It popped up on my YouTube today, the suggestion, and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna watch this when I get some time. And I heard a story about it, and it made me want to watch it. Apparently, the reason there's no way he wouldn't be a badass is they heard him in like another booth while they were making the game, and they were gonna go. They were like maybe like looking at facilities to do recording, and they heard his voice like from one booth over, and they like went to go find him. Like, hey, you would be great for this role. Do you want to do it? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And he's been doing it ever since, from like the first Hitman game.
I was shocked when I went back to watch like speedruns of the older games recently, like Hitman 1 from 2000. It's him. So that's pretty impressive longevity these days. Like Sonic doesn't keep a voice actor for that long.
No, and I was looking for this on Twitter the other day. When Hitman 2 came out, they sent a like video glasses, and you put on the video glasses, and you hit play, and there was a little SD card in there, and they had like a shadowy version of Agent 47, so you couldn't see his mouth moving, but then the audio was just the voice actor saying, "Venture Beat, Jeff Grubb, you've been chosen." And
how much did you like that?
I was very excited about that. Yeah, it was like it came in like a cool little box.
Give those games such good reviews.
Yeah, no, I was bought off. I'm a shill, of course. And I found the video and I retweeted it. So if anyone wants to find that, it's on my Twitter feed.
Somebody made like a mock-up of Agent 47's join Smash Brothers thing.
Oh, God,
and that like ruined me. That would be so great. I spent like a whole like 2 hours imagining his moveset and which level they would choose for his stage. And now I'm just sad that.
I mean, it would be such a good character because it is like so creative, and I think that Sakurai would have a lot of fun with that character.
I guess I almost wouldn't be too surprised because it is just IO Interactive, so the deal is that hard to make. And it's not, you already have Snake in there, who is another like a guy who uses a lot of like violent weapons and guns and stuff. So it wouldn't be like, oh, they can't possibly do that in a Smash Bros. Game. They could.
Yep. No,
so,
you're right.
I'm gonna hold on to some hope because that's actually my dream one now. Is Agent 47.
I would pop if they did that. Absolutely, that would be very exciting.
By the way, Anti-Macro said also about the Sigma versions of Ninja Gaiden that apparently they left out some costumes, some of the unlockable games, and some scenes. So apparently they're just kind of weird, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's a bummer. I guess I kind of remember hearing that, but I never fully understood either. So thank you for explaining that, guys. I appreciate that. Not much else for me.
Or gonna talk about the DC teenager thing.
Was there something that happened with this? Were people upset about this or something, or you just want to talk about it?
I mean, I'm sure people were upset about it. I don't know. I mean, I think it looks bad. I think it's weird.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but whatever. I mean,
yeah. To me, it's just like, oh, they like this is them trying to appeal to that wider audience they've been talking about.
I'm not upset about it, but I am going to make fun of it because it is.
Oh yeah.
It certainly it has that big like, exec table of like 6 50-year-old men and like maybe one older woman executive trying to figure out what the cool teenage girls say these days.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, I mean, it feels like that era of game where like you got a lot of Nickelodeon games that kind of had this vibe. And they just came and went, and to me it was like, oh, I could just like glaze over this and ignore it. But yeah, I don't know. I try to actually find like good versions of those kinds of games because I have 2 daughters, and it turns out that the Powerpuff Girls game for the Game Boy Color was actually pretty good. And so we went back and played that one, and they were enjoying that. But not a lot of great like super like girl focused superhero games to choose from. So this one's not looking good either, and that's a bummer. Anything else stand out to you from this list, Mike? I guess there's games coming up real soon for the Switch, like Monster Hunter Rise and stuff like that. But we knew about that. There was a new trailer, but
Bravely Default 2 is like super imminent.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Bravely Default 2 is like weeks away, days away.
Days away.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, so exactly. So like, we're this period where there are games coming out for the system. They filled in a few more of those holes. I guess the big dates were Mario Golf is June 25th. Let's see.
We should talk about Skyward Sword a bit more.
Right. So that's what we were gonna finish up with Skyward Sword. So yeah, I reviewed. This is like one of the. I guess this had to be one of my earliest big reviews. And I remember getting sent like the gold Wiimote like version of the game and playing it, and I really did enjoy it. I haven't played it since because I've never wanted to like get out the waggle. And the fact that they are giving us button controls is a big deal for me. I am more than ready to go back to this game and give it another shot.
And I'm also pretty happy that we are getting motion control still. Like this was the one Wii game that really made that stuff work pretty well. So I think having those 2 options is good. This is a game that can really benefit from some. They've done some light editing with Wind Waker and with Twilight Princess. I'm sure they'll do more here. And I almost hope they do a little bit more than a little bit.
Yeah.
Now. So we'll see. It looks great now, right? Looks like it's 60 frames per second. It's HD. So yeah, I like Skyward Sword. I'm excited about this. A lot of people are mad that it cost $60. And my first reaction to that was, oh, whatever, get over it. I guess it is a little weird. When I thought about it in terms of Mario Galaxy just recently came out on Switch, as part of a bundle with 2 of their games, and that whole bundle was $60. And all, like, they're doing more work to Skyward Sword than they did for Mario Galaxy, I guess. But yeah, I can understand how that feels a little weird.
Yeah,
I assumed Wind Waker and Twilight Princess were $60 each on Wii U, but I guess they were 50 each.
right. So my guess here is like they just do more for Zelda. I bet they're going to do a lot more for this game than we are assuming right now. Now, I don't take my word for that. Don't go out and pre-order it and assume like, oh, Jeff said this game's going to be way better than it originally was. But they have traditionally done that, like you said, with the previous Zelda games with the editing. And I think that the Zelda team just won't release these games unless they are super happy with them. And I think that takes quite a bit of work. And to them, I think that justifies the $60 price tag. And I think they also know that people will probably buy it for $60. Now, if they had done Galaxy HD and kind of did a similar thing with like why could they have sold that for $60? They probably could have, and probably gotten away with it. And so the fact that they are like, oh, they're not going to try, or they're not giving us the same deal that they gave us with Mario with Zelda. I get why people are weirded out by that, and to that I would say just don't buy it. Like don't buy it. Like that's fine. You can not buy the game. We don't have a lot of other like recourse here. You can also criticize Nintendo. I'm not saying, oh, just shut up and don't buy it. Criticize them. I'm not saying, oh, we live in a society or anything like that. Go ahead, yell at them all you want. I just, for the most part, I'm like, I've already pre-ordered it. I'm going to get this game. I'm ready to play it again. And so I'm not going to, sit there and also yell at them and say, oh, look, they're charging too much, because I'm ready to play this game for $60. So that's just where I'm at.
I'm fine with, I guess that's what it is. I don't really mind the price.
Yeah,
it's fine. Do I sound like I'm 5 feet away from my mic? Dan Becker said that, and now I'm self-conscious.
It's not your fault. I think it's just the Discord audio. For people that are like listening, Zencaster, the thing that we normally use is being weird. They just got a big update, and we couldn't get it to work, and so we're using Discord audio, and so there's like a little bit of compression happening with Discord, and I kind of It's okay. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out for next week though, folks. Sorry about that. But that's sorry. Mike's not sorry. I apologize. Mike doesn't care about you people, and there's nothing I can do about that. All right, that does it for the Nintendo Direct. Mike, give me your BlizzCon minute take. Like, what happened there?
So the one big game they really announced is Diablo 2 Resurrection. The Diablo 2 remake is happening. This is what Vicarious Visions is working on with Blizzard. It's kind of like Vicarious Visions is working on the front end stuff, so the graphics and that, and Blizzard's doing kind of all the systems and the math behind the game. But yeah, it looks pretty good. You're cautious because of Reforged, right? But Diablo 2 is a great game. It looks like they're just updating the graphics really and adding some stuff like it's going to come out on consoles. It's going to have cross progression, not cross play, but cross progression. But yeah, I hope it's just Diablo 2 with a fresh coat of paint, and that's all that game needs.
Yeah, my understanding of Reforged is that it wasn't just sort of disappointing. It was indicative of all that is wrong with Blizzard. Is how I've heard it put.
It was. The whole thing was bizarre because when they debuted it, they kind of pushed it as more of like a remake than it was, and then the next BlizzCon, they're like, actually, we're turning back some of the stuff we said we're going to change, but they didn't communicate that very well. So people were really mad that it suddenly didn't have a lot of these features it said it was going to have. And then when it came out, it wasn't working for one thing. Like people couldn't get online and play matches. And it still was missing some of the features that were in the game before, like clan support and tournament support. So there was less features than when it was just the base version of the game. And also it replaced the base version of the game.
Right.
So there was all sorts of, it was not just a mistake. It was so incredibly badly done that it is I am still worried about Resurrection somehow. It shouldn't. It should be very easy.
Right.
It should be the simplest thing in the world, but I still am worried. Who knows? Maybe it's gonna be bad anyways.
So I watched that trailer and I was excited. I think it looks good from the trailer. I'm ready to play it just like everyone else. I guess I don't know. Is there anything else that stood out to you about it? Is it just okay, they updated the graphics, they are putting all of the content in there, and that's kind of all they need to do?
That's all. Yeah, I actually really like Diablo 2. This was actually the first Blizzard game I really got into. I played Warcraft 2 before this, and I would even Warcraft 3 after this. I didn't get into that nearly as much as this. Didn't care about StarCraft. So Diablo 2 was my favorite Blizzard game for a very long time. I played a ton of it. So yeah, just bringing it back like this. That's all. That's my big takeaway. Is that it's Diablo 2. They should have done this before Warcraft 3, anyways.
Right.
So I'm glad it's happening now.
Then I also watched the Diablo 4 trailer, and that looks pretty gnarly. That's looking very like it looks different than Diablo 3 looked. It's kind of
is incredibly intentional, and I had an interview with some of the developers in Diablo 4, and I'm laughing at them. Like it's almost like they're intentionally putting as many severed limbs into that thing as they can. And they kind of are. Like they're trying to make a big statement. Like we know that Diablo 3 would kind of tone down the horror, the gothic, the darker elements of it, and they're trying to get back to that. And good. And I wasn't somebody who was like really upset about Diablo 3's look, but especially after
those complaints went away. Like I remember hearing them a lot when Diablo 3 was first shown. Those complaints went away, but now that people are seeing Diablo 4, I'm hearing a lot of people being like, "Oh wait, Diablo 3 maybe did look a little bit different than what I was hoping it would look like." Like people are like bringing back those criticisms, but now they're like criticisms and not just the the wailing that we heard when Diablo 3 was first.
I guess that's the difference, right? Like it's not just
screaming.
Yeah, right. Like there was something to that. This does look better. They showed off a new class. It's the Rogue, which is actually a returning Diablo 1 class, which is neat. Usually it's always returning Diablo 2 classes. So that's kind of neat. And this is going to be the kind of rogues. They can be ranged. They can be kind of up close, knife, poisons, traps, all that good stuff. But they didn't show much aside from that, and we know that this isn't a 2021 game. It's 2022 at the earliest. It still appears like that, right? But still, we got to see something of it. The weird thing is, Overwatch 2 did not have any real presence during the opening ceremonies, which is like the keynote address, basically. Now, after the keynote address, like each of the games has like their own video stream, and you can kind of pick which one you want to learn about. And there was a thing for Overwatch 2 there, and they showed some stuff. But they showed a couple of the new maps. They showed some new costumes. They talked about some things, but nothing crazy. And we know that that's not a game coming out this year.
Right.
But like now that's like I was like, well, maybe it'll be early 2022. And now I'm like, I don't think it's even that anymore. Like I'm shocked that they didn't have a bit more to show for that, and I'm surprised there wasn't something to show on the main stage for Overwatch 2. It looks good. I'm excited for it, but I am a little like when that was debuted at last BlizzCon, which was in 2019. I thought, this is basically a really big update to Overwatch 1. So this could come out like in 6 months or something.
Right. Yes, that's my thought too.
That was my fault, I guess, for thinking that. Like I was clearly way off, but this isn't coming out soon.
Yeah, I don't know if you mentioned it, because I think you might have, but Diablo Immortal also not shown, or was that one of the panels?
It was shown for a little bit. I mean, there's not too much to say about it. They did some alpha testing on it, which I played actually. So I played some Diablo Immortal, and I liked it. It's fun.
Yeah, everyone that's played it has kind of had that thing where like, this is fun. I totally am going to play this.
Yeah. So
I mean, if you have only if you have a phone, of course.
Yeah. They're confident in it, and I think they also know that the BlizzCon audience maybe isn't that super
makes sense
interested.
They learned
They learned that lesson from a few years ago. But it's coming. I forget if they said this year, but I'm sure it's releasing this year. I bet it's in alpha right now, or it was in alpha. I'm sure beta's coming up. And then World of Warcraft, we had the next big update for regular World of Warcraft, which is just stuff. There's going to be a new raid for Warcraft stuff. The stuff actually all leaked a couple of days ago. And Classic's getting Burning Crusade, which we all thought was going to happen. It's happening. So that's nice.
How does the business model on that work? Is it just like with your subscription, you get...
Yeah, you'll just get Burning Crusade. So
cool. Yeah.
That's pretty nice. Yeah. I think you can buy like a level boost, and I think you're going to pay separately for that if you want that, which maybe you do, maybe you don't.
Right.
But it's just to make sure that those people keep paying for that subscription, right? Because the original classic content has dried up. So yeah, that's nice, and that'll be this year. And then the Hearthstone's getting a new expansion. Looks nice. It's based off the Barrens Zone, which is like this classic World of Warcraft.
People were mentioning Slay the Spire. Is there a Slay the Spire mode coming?
they announced a new mode that's going to be kind of roguelike-esque, and
Right.
you know, I haven't actually played that much Slay Spire. I'm sure it's taking a little inspiration
Yeah.
from that, but they said like roguelike RPG kind of mode. So yeah, that's coming later this year, not with the expansion.
Okay.
Which will be sooner rather than later. So, but yeah, you know, nothing's. You know, last year was not last year. About 2 years ago, really, year and a half, was when they had the big BlizzCon where they announced Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4.
Sure.
So I wasn't too surprised that there wasn't going to be an announcement like that. I think Diablo 2 was what we were all expecting. So, and you know, it's here and it's good to see it. Oh, there was also like this Blizzard Arcade Collection, which is just a compilation of I almost said Three Dirty Dwarves, the Lost Vikings. I wish it was Three Dirty Dwarves. Lost Vikings, Blackthorn, and Rock and Roll Racing, and it's out on like, you know, everything, and it has some nice improvements and stuff like
there is a thing for to get codes for that in our email, and can you please respond to them and get me one for Switch? Thank you, Mike.
I already got my own. I don't know if you deserve one. You haven't been very good lately.
Oh man. Okay, I see how it is.
Sure.
You kind of gave me your overall take on it. I guess. I mean, any other like final thoughts? I mean, it was mostly what we expected. Did they deliver that in a fun package that felt like it was solid and people should be happy?
I think unless maybe you're an Overwatch fan, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with the event this year. You know, again, I you know, I wasn't expecting anything with StarCraft. I wasn't expecting
right.
Heroes of the Storm. That's done. You know, StarCraft will be getting its own soon. I'm sure that's going to be the next franchise to get.
Does Blizzard have an auto chess?
No, but it's. I mean, Hearthstone has a auto chess build basically. So
that's right. That's where it was. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, and it's. I think it's still pretty popular there.
Yeah,
so
sure.
So yeah, you know, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah,
I missed having an actual BlizzCon. That one's actually fun to go to.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's right there, right next to Disney World and like
Disneyland.
Yeah, Disneyland. Yes, I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, no, that always seems like a fun trip. One of these years, I'm gonna go instead of you.
Yeah, it's better. You know, what was the last time you even played Overwatch?
A year. No, I played it on Switch last year sometime for like a day.
Oh, wow, last year for a day.
Yeah.
Never tried it on Switch.
All right. So I only got a couple other news items here. FPS boost has come to Xbox Series X and S. This is the magical thing that developers don't have to do any work, and the Xbox just makes games run faster. Sometimes they go from 30 frames to 60 frames per second. They say that they can even quadruple the frame rate in some games. It seems really cool. I've messed around with it a little bit. Excuse me, it's in 5 games right now, and I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but they're going to be adding more. The list of games, it was like UFC 4 and Far Cry 4 and a few others, and it seemed like they were just picking these games because they were good examples of how FPS boost can work. That Fox game that was on Oculus, I can't remember the name of it. It runs at 120 frames per second now. Super Lucky's Tale, thank you. That runs at 120 frames per second now. So it's just a good example of what can be done here. And again, developers don't have to do anything, but Microsoft is not going to turn it on unless they get approval from devs and publishers, because they want to give those companies a chance to say, oh, this is not going to mess up our intent or whatever. Maybe that's important. So yeah, it makes sense to me. Valheim, that survival Steam early access Vikings game.
Last week I was like, what the heck is this? I was so embarrassed. Now it's all anybody talks about.
Yep. 3 million copies sold. And I tried to boot it up a little bit before the podcast and my computer crashed. Don't think that was because of Valheim. I just need a new PSU. But I really want to play that game. Maybe I'll report back on it next week. But it's a massive success. It feels like it felt like we had moved past the period where a new big survival game would come along on Steam in early access and blow everyone away and take over the world. It's like, oh, you know, Rust and Ark and all those games, they had come and gone. But apparently that's still going to just keep happening. And maybe like as people discover new ways to do these games, it'll just keep happening forever. Because it's
cool before Ark 2 comes with Vin Diesel and Teal.
Oh yeah, it's just they're counting the day. Yeah, this game's doomed for sure. Yeah, man, Mike, I forgot about that until you just brought it up. That Vin Diesel trailer.
That's the thing.
Digital Vin.
I was like, what? I was convinced it was Turok for the longest time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he should have just done Turok, but whatever. Ark 2, that's great.
That's fine. Yeah.
Mike, a big problem with video games is this scalpers thing, right? Scalpers, they go out, they get all the PlayStation 5s, the Xbox Series X and S, all the GPUs. John Carmack knows how to solve this problem. The companies that make those products should just auction them off to the highest bidder. And that way, there's no more scalpers other than the companies that are scalping the products themselves now. That you just don't worry about that. What do you think about that idea?
I feel like it's so bad that I can't believe I would have to explain why that's stupid.
Yeah, you know,
I mean, it obviously favors the rich.
Yeah.
Right? We all have the same amount of money, so we can depend on how much it's worth to us, really, right? Like, it doesn't work like that.
So, but he is not technically wrong. This would not benefit scalpers, right? Scalpers would be cut out of it. It's just that, yeah, it does turn the companies into the scalpers themselves. But like, you know,
scalping is an issue, but the big issue here is still really just
it costs too much.
Chip production and stuff, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. And it's like, you know, and the problem isn't necessarily like that the scalpers exist. It's like people have to pay a lot of money to get one, and if you just shift like who you're paying a lot of money to, okay, that's good for the companies. They'll get more money, but is it actually good for the companies? Because people are just going to feel really bad about them, like. During the pandemic, we might have talked about this before, but during the pandemic, or early in the pandemic, I mean, toilet paper was really hard to get. Stores, right? They should have just started charging way more for toilet paper, shouldn't they?
Right.
And then everyone would have been like, oh, I don't need that much toilet paper. I'll just get less because this costs a lot more. And it doesn't work like that. Everyone would just be like, oh, this store is gouging us during a pandemic. And I feel Target like is trying to take advantage of me. I have bad feelings about Target now and will carry this now for the rest of my life. And that's what these companies would be doing in this situation if they're like, we're just going to directly charge you more. Whoever is going to pay us the most, we'll sell you a PlayStation 5. People would remember that and have very bad feelings, and it would just damage their brand. And I get John Carmack is a genius, but you have to be able to think about like human beings are human beings and have emotions and stuff like that. You have to remember that, no matter how smart you are.
Numbers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and a lot of like econ guys, a lot of I can't remember the word. Economists. Yes.
Economists.
A lot of them, they want to just think in the numbers, and it's like, you have to remember that these people...
They forget that we live in a society.
They forget that, as the man says, we live in a society. God damn it. But yeah, John Carmack, nice try, but come back again with something else. All right, we'll talk about whatever is next week.
Did you see that Mortal Kombat trailer?
I did watch it. I thought it looked pretty good. I was like half paying attention to it because I think my kids were yelling at me during it. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, you need food, whatever, I'll go feed you. But it looks like it might be a good Mortal Kombat movie, right? Is that...
Looks like it should be fun.
Yeah, they like Sub-Zero like made the ice wall and threw him into it. I'm like, oh, that's what I want to see from this movie. It looked pretty cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, they said the lines.
I got way too mad this morning because there's that Jezebel story about Chun-Li not being in it, which to me was very obviously a joke.
Yes.
And so many people were like mad about it. Or, like,
so it is a bad joke, but it was obviously a joke.
Yeah, is it that bad a joke?
Yeah, because I mean, what is the joke? Oh, a site for women doesn't understand. Like,
I guess the joke is that people expect them not to, so they're like leading into it and making fun of them. I don't know.
I guess listen.
Whether it was a good or bad joke, yes. It seemed so obvious to me that it was a joke, and I don't know. If for some reason it bothered me way too much that so many people thought that it was, and then they had the jokey correction,
right? Yes.
Like, proof that they did it that they actually thought Chun-Li's from Mortal Kombat.
And it's like, no matter what, like it's not worth getting like worked up about. Like,
I got worked up.
Well, no. I mean, no. You can get worked up at the people who like don't understand that it was like that was a joke and like we're taking it way too seriously. But like getting mad at a site that you read and you don't like you pay for free and like like, I don't get kind of what your end goal is here. Like, oh, I should be doing this job at Jezebel instead because I know about video games. I don't know. It's not worth all that hassle. But yeah, I don't know. My response to it was just like, okay, I'm gonna play along with the joke, and I posted a picture of my Chun-Li fan art and the big lizard from Primal Rage, and I had a good time, and I was like, you know, I'm like, okay, I was going to say something along the lines of, I think this might be a bad joke. And I'm like, you know what? No, let's just like, this is a better way of doing it. Like, just go ahead and play along with it. And I was hoping to like divert people's attention a little bit. It seemed like people enjoyed it too. So, but yeah, I don't blame you for getting kind of worked up about that.
Hey, maybe a little silly. It's not important. It's not important.
It's not important. You know what is important? 6 days in Fallujah.
Oh gosh.
This is our last news story.
Is it as important as, because this is another thing people are getting really worked up over, and I don't want to say they shouldn't, because obviously people,
Sure.
it's based off of war. Some people have very, of course, intense experiences and more personal experiences with that than I ever will.
Right.
But I do think maybe we're overselling how big this game is going to be, or how much it's ever going to matter by getting worked up over it. Yeah, I guess you could say what it is first.
Yeah, so we talked about it a little bit last week. And since then, the director, I don't know what he is, but he's the guy that's kind of spearheading this thing. He's bringing it back. This is the game that was like 10 years ago. They were going to make it 6 days in Fallujah. It was going to like tell the story of soldiers in a real battle in the real rock war, and Konami canceled it because they realized it was a bad idea and was making everyone mad. Well, it's back. It's making everyone mad again.
Imagine that.
And the guy that is that is spearheading this did a bunch of interviews, and they're trying to say that they're trying to do it like as an educational thing, and I think my big thing is, I agree with you, Mike, that I think if we had just ignored this and, first of all, not given this guy a bunch of interviews and not talked to him that much, it would have just gone away, because it's really not actually all that interesting, other than it just seems like a really bad idea. And if you can't get the guy to get on the level of explaining exactly why he's doing this really bad idea, those interviews kind of feel pointless. But
yeah, and I mean, he did the classic "we're not trying to be political" thing, and it's ridiculous and it's stupid and it's exhausting, but it's also, man, we've been here before.
Yeah, and so I think my big thing, the big tell for me was, he's like, oh, we want to tell the truth of the people who live through this, like tell their experience. That's what we're trying to convey. And then so people be like, okay, so white phosphorus was used. How are you going to portray that? Well, we're not going to do that. So it's like, okay, so we're like, when you say tell the truth of the experience, you're talking about a very specific group of people. And he's like, well, like, why aren't you going to do that? Well, the big thing is the people that we talked to didn't tell us about that. And the people we talked to are mostly soldiers who would not tell you about using white phosphorus because it is a war crime.
It's obviously going to have nothing to do with the civilians and the people who would have anything like an unfavorable view of the U.S. Army.
Right,
and of course, that makes it a bad. If it's supposed to be educational, it makes it a bad educational experience.
Exactly right. Like, if you are not going to check the veracity of these stories, if you're not going to independently verify and say, and come back and do follow-up interviews and say, what about this other aspect that we heard from these other people that sort of counter what you're saying? If you're not going to do any of that stuff, it is just glorification. It is the thing that everyone is saying it is, and it is inherently bad to just glorify it. Like, we have to get past glorifying war, especially real war, real battles. We have to be more critical about this stuff. It can't always just be hoorah. We have that stuff and it's fictionalized, and we let that slide because it's fictionalized. A lot of us let it slide. I let it slide with Call of Duty or whatever, because it's fictional. If you are going to try to do the same thing with a real battle that cost real lives, we're not gonna kind of have the same sort of laissez-faire attitude about it. But yeah, I at this point I'm like, let's just let this game come out and then ignore it like we would with any other game like this. There's been a lot of like real life games that try to simulate war to a real extent. And most people just ignore them because they aren't that interested in them. And I think that this is going to be the same with this game as well. So let's just ignore it.
Right. And I was thinking, you're mad about it. You can be. I think it's fine. I think it's fine to speak.
Oh yes.
But I don't want you to ruin your week over it, I guess.
Yeah. And there was some of that, and I'm not going to blame anyone for kind of getting heated about it, but
you feel how you feel.
Yes. I personally don't think this game
incident that got kind of ugly in a weird way that we won't get into. But
right, yeah. I just don't think this game was worth it. I don't. Yeah, it shouldn't.
Right, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Like, that person we're talking to seems to have made like an almost career-altering decision because of this, and I don't think this is worth that.
Yep. All right, we got questions. Let's start with Noble. So there are not many Wii U games left, and with the port of Miitopia is the gate now open for the era of 3DS ports to the Switch?
Utopia did throw me off, huh? I was surprised so many people seemed mad that there wasn't like an like when are they remaking Ocarina of Time? Well, they just did. Like what was that? Like 6 years ago?
Yeah, they just did.
7 years ago? Yeah, so I guess it's a little bit longer than that now, but yeah, so I mean I guess it'll be harder, right? Because
Dual screens, man.
like, yeah, and if you bring Ocarina of Time over and now you already have like what's the standard for that now? Can it just look like how it did there? Can you just bump up the resolution and the frame rate on that 3DS remake? I don't know. Like, and, you know, what else? Like, what does it look like if you bring over like Between Worlds? So I don't know. I mean, I feel like honestly, I think they'll just go back further to other old. I think they'll do more Wii stuff. I think they might get more GameCube stuff even.
Yeah, I was like, I more than Super Mario Galaxy 2. I was surprised that Super Mario 3D Land didn't get the port in the Mario collection, because I'm like, okay, that would be pretty easy. It's just controls. But it would look really bad. They have to do a lot more work there. That's the thing. That game, you can upgrade that to HD using emulators, and it looks rough. So I think there's, the same thing would probably happen with a lot of 3DS games. So I think it's going to be weird. It's going to be kind of give and take. I think Miitopia works because it uses the Miis. The Miis have a very stylized look that are kind of low res. So I don't think they're too worried about that. Maybe that means like Tomodachi Life and stuff like that comes over, but even that's kind of hard.
Yeah. Is Xenoblade Chronicles X like the last Wii U game that people actually want that hasn't been brought up? Because there's like Star Fox Zero, which nobody's asking for.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like Rhythm Heaven, but the 3DS version of Rhythm Heaven is actually the one I want. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I think you're right. Yeah.
Like that's it. We even got that Fire Emblem Shin Megami Tensei crossover thing.
Oh yeah, they are
like everything's been taken care of just about.
They are harvesting the Wii U tree they are going to completely strip mine that thing. All right, this is
Star Fox Zero okay too. I defended that game, but nobody wants it. even me who liked it, I don't need it on my Switch. It's all right.
Get out of here with that. The game makes me mad. I never bought it, but I played at E3 and really, really didn't like it. But I guess I
remember how much. I remember you struggled with it.
You were right there, and that never helps, Mike. You guys don't want to play games right next to you.
Well, the worst time was when the Link's Awakening remake, and I was so excited. I was like, "Here, Jeff, you can play first. This is your favorite game ever." And I was like, "I'm gonna watch Jeff have a magical moment," and then you were like, kind of down on it. I've come around because I like. When I reviewed it, I was like, yeah, no, this is great. I still, the original Link's Awakening is just so perfect to me that it's always going to be there. But I have gone back and started playing Link's Awakening again multiple times now. So I'm like, okay, clearly I am very happy with this remake, and I need to just accept that. All right, more questions. Eat the hype. Several reporters came out after the Direct to address that they think Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are still coming to Switch. Do they get announced after Skyward Sword releases, and when do you see them showing up separately, bundled, etc.? So my understanding is we will see these games, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess specifically, the HD remix for the Wii U. They both came out on Wii U, right? And I think that these two will be bundled together for $60. That is kind of my understanding. I don't know 100%, but that is my understanding. I don't know. I guess let me ask you, Mike. Do you think they could get away with selling these for $60 a piece? I don't think so, especially after they did them $50 on the Wii U. Get away, I think they would. They'd kind of get away with it. I think it'd be better for them if they just make a bundle of them.
Yeah,
why not? And I expect these to be announced at E3, right?
E3, yeah, E3, yeah. And the one thing we didn't mention in the Direct thing is IG Aonuma came out and said specifically they're going to talk more about Breath of the Wild 2 later this year. That's going to be E3 as well. So yeah. More from Eat the Hype, from Donnie. The Bethesda deal should close in the next week or two. Do you think Microsoft will have an announcement / event regarding Bethesda future within Xbox when the deal is official soon after? Yes. So I saw this in Discord when he asked that. So yeah, if you want to ask questions, you can ask us in the Discord or during the show. You can use the super chat feature. So if you're watching now and you have a question, That's the best way to do it. But I saw this in the Discord. I was like, glad someone asked that, because it's like gives me a chance to talk about it. I think they're going to have an event for this. My understanding is this is like, leading up to E3, like what's going to be happening. I think this is one of the milestones for Microsoft before E3, where once the deal closes, they will talk about it in a big way. I don't know if it'll be like a full direct style event, but they will make note of it and they will talk about it extensively and explain what it means to everybody, and kind of talk about the immediate future for both companies becoming one in the future. So yeah, expect that to happen sometime in mid-March, I would expect. So yeah. From Nick Turbo, do you think Bethesda will do something new with Starfield, or will it just be a Skyrim / Fallout 4 in space? Mike, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a Skyrim / Fallout 4 in space, I'm afraid. I'm sure it'll have something involving like spaceships or something they're going to try to do to make it seem a bit more ambitious. I don't know. I don't know. I've been very down on this game forever, though, right? So of course my expectations are high. Right. What do you think about Starfield? Because I'm the one who wants to cancel Starfield.
Yeah. Mike is famous for wanting to cancel Starfield. No, it is probably one of those in space. It's kind of like what I want it to be. I guess maybe there should be some new stuff there, but it's tough to tell. My guess it is one of those games, but this game is going to have new mechanics that is forcing Bethesda to push its technology forward, so that when it goes back to make Elder Scrolls and it goes back to make Fallout, Starfield will have fundamentally changed it and fundamentally improved everything, so that those games are even better in the future. And I bet they are like looking at Starfield as that sort of instigating moment where they have to do stuff to their technology to really improve that stuff.
What I would like is that this game was like really trying hard to be like a Star Trek Next Generation, and it was so much more focused on diplomacy and ethics and stuff like that there's not that much of a emphasis on like that was one of the complaints about Fallout 4, right? There's too much combat. I want this to go in the opposite direction, where it's almost all things like dialogue trees and stuff like that.
Agree.
And how much is your diplomacy meter filled, things like that.
At least have those things as equally important as combat. So that, like, I'm sure there's always going to be people that want to just treat these games as shooters. And I think that if you want to go that way, that should be available to you. They clearly have done that, and that's kind of what I think they want to make sure that stuff is there to serve that audience. But I think that I think you're right. They should put a ton of focus on the diplomacy side of things. I think that would be great. More from Nick Turbo. How many Amiibos do you guys own? Mike, you go first.
Gosh, in my room right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I know I have a bunch more in storage. I bet I have about 20, to be honest.
I have 1.5 after it got broken.
Nice.
Because I have kids, and I got these because Nintendo sent them to me during reviews for stuff. So
I do have a bunch that Nintendo sent to me.
Right. Yeah, I do like this Link. I mean, they're good. They're like quality toys, statues.
Yeah, I like them. I have the Shovel Knight bundle that came with like the 3 characters from the DLC, and I have actual Shovel Knight. Cool. I have 2 Mega Man ones now. Yeah, I must actually have closer to 30 now that I think about it. I do like the Amiibo. It's good. I'm almost a little sad that it seems to be winding down a bit, to be honest.
Yeah. Hang on, Mike. Keep talking, Mike. I got to do something real quick. Hang on here.
Okay. I'm just really. I know I'm supposed to ignore what you're doing, but I'm very excited about it. But I have Snake. I have Simon Belmont, which is very cool because he has this Link like chain link all around him. Oh no! I know what you're doing. You're picking up my rap. I can hear it.
The next question is, can you explain this?
Hardcore and proud. When I'm in chat, they're whining aloud. I capture the flags. I protect all my.
This is from Mike Minotti's YouTube channel.
I get all the endings. I don't like Halo.
It's fantastic.
That's one of the better rhymes. I don't like Halo because I'm too cool.
I just take a. I'll rewind.
They're whining aloud. I capture the flags. I protect all my lemons. When I beat Chrono Trigger, I get all the endings. I don't
okay, that is pretty good.
That is
I protect all my lemons. When I beat Chrono Trigger, I get all the endings.
I'll always win a fight.
It's very good.
Online or land, or Dracula says,
Dracula.
What is a man?
That's a good one too.
because they are down. I like to eat pizza
Because it is round, of course.
I like my girls blonde and their t-shirts wet.
Oh, there it
When I
is.
see Princess Peach, I scream, shot and get.
All right, so this is Mike's The Gamer Rap from the Mike Minotti YouTube. I will put a link to this in the description, at least on the audio version.
I'm almost shocked that that's not more embarrassing or offensive.
Listen, yes. So this is from 2010. It could have been so much worse. It could have been.
Right? I made a parody rap about video games in 2010.
Like I'm just gonna control F. You put the lyrics. You put the lyrics beneath the video in the description. I'm gonna control F and search for the R word. Nope. See right there. You're already so far above where you could have been in 2010. So
aside from some juvenile sex stuff, because that's what I equated rap with. It's pretty squeaky clean, really.
Yeah. It's good. So yeah, if you want to check that out, I'll just put the link in.
In terms of explaining it, I was like up all night one night. I actually bought the rights to that backing track.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like $5, but I googled.
Yeah,
that.
back then, God,
I just wrote this whole thing, and I don't know why I did it, but there it is. Yeah,
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's the explanation, and that was Nick Turbo's last question. I think
digging through my YouTube channel, which is nothing. It's just where I've uploaded random stupid things over the years. Hey, we have a couple.
Yeah, go for it.
Chats. Will Jama, which I'm probably saying wrong. I'm sorry. $2. Do you think Breath of the Wild 2 is coming in 2021? No, I do not think that.
Yes, I do. I think it is. But can I cheat? Fiscal 2021.
Okay,
it'll come by March. It'll come by March 2022. I think it's definitely by March 2022, in my opinion. That's a guess. But I think that at E3 they will announce that's their big holiday game. Yeah.
I guess there has. Well, I want to say there has to be a big holiday game. There wasn't really this last year. Not really. So I don't know. Maybe there doesn't have to be. Hey, Nostalgia Gaming with $5. Your opinion: will Switch get a refresh at some point, or will the next console be new concept? Hoping backward compatibility and portability going forward. You would think that the next console is just going to be like the Switch, and it would just be completely backward compatible. I don't expect it to be as seamless as what Xbox has done, but maybe.
Yeah, I think Nintendo always feels like it needs to do more than it really needs to do.
Right. They overthink things sometimes.
And listen, maybe they know better than I do. I think maybe a little bit because they've sold a lot of consoles, and maybe Switch will sort of fizzle out over time, and the concept alone, even if they upgrade it with a refresh, and it's the Switch 2, and it's basically the same thing but more powerful, maybe people will just get over it, and it won't be as popular, and maybe it would have been better if they mixed things up a little bit. I just doubt it. My gut feeling tells me that this form factor works so well that if they can just kind of mostly stick to it, ensure really good portability, ensure really good battery life, and then just upgrade the screen and upgrade the innards over time, that we're going to be really happy with it. As for the first question, will Switch get a refresh at some point? Absolutely. We will get a Switch update, a Switch revision that is significant at some point, and then we'll get a Switch 2 or the next console. I don't know when. At first, I think everyone thought it was going to be this year. I think it's probably been pushed into 2022 now, but that doesn't mean it's not going to come now. It'll come. All right, no more super chats for now. So let's see. Here's a big one. Another one from the Discord. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's mostly just about Psychonauts 2, but from Adam Mohan, I guess Ada Mohan, probably like it's a Monster Hunter. I'm probably overthinking that. Adam Mohan says, "What's going on with Psychonauts 2?" And then a lot of it's a big screen, and it boils down to when he hears people talking about the big games that they're looking forward to. Not many people mention Psychonauts 2. Shouldn't Microsoft be sort of positioning this as their Game Pass answer to Ratchet in 2021? I guess, Mike, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, and he kind of brings up this game was being shown a good amount last year, even the year before that. I remember, it was two. Not there wasn't E3 last year. So the E3 before that at Judges Week, I remember we saw a pretty good chunk of this game. So my understanding is that when Microsoft bought Double Fine, that they threw some money at this project to kind of, not redo anything, but to freshen it up a bit, to it seem maybe a bit more like a Microsoft joint because it was, it was an indie game before that, right? It was an indie 3D platformer. So they're sprucing up a bit. I think that's why it seems to have gone radio dark. I think it's just getting some extra attention now that Microsoft's name is kind of more tied to it. I don't know if they want to market it as like a Ratchet and Clank competitor, because it's still not going to be that. I'm not saying it's not going to be good. Maybe it can be, but if you ever played the first one, it is a 3D platformer, but it's also some other things, and it's very quirky. And as far as why people don't seem that excited, it definitely found an audience, but it is still niche. It's still niche.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the next time we see this game, I expect the Microsoft money to be evident on the screen, and I think and then I hope that when we play it, it's also evident when we're playing it, and it just feels really slick and polished. Because if you're making a 3D platformer, even one that's as creative as a Double Fine game, I think you want it to be pretty polished. You want to feel like this is a game that people really, really thought about, and they really considered everything the players are going to be doing with it. And like, you want to feel the hand of the developer all throughout that. And that does take a lot of time and money. And hopefully that's like just where this game is right now. And we feel that when we're playing it. As for whether or not they'll be able to convey that in the marketing, we'll have to wait and see. And then 2 from Revan in the Discord. What character do you main in Star Wars Masters of Terraskazi?
Terraskazi.
Terraskazi? No, it's Terraskazi. No, it's Terraskazi.
Terraskazi. Right? No,
Terraskazi.
Is there a Z?
No, there's an S. The fucking S in there. What do you...
The silent S. Kai. Like Psy? No.
Then maybe help me.
How do you pronounce Terraskazi?
Hashtag Mike is wrong. I think that's what we need to get trending right now. So Masters of Terraskazi, my main, of course, is Han Solo. Because who would be a better martial artist in the world of Star Wars than just a pirate that kind of just doesn't care about anything? I don't know.
I play the Grimorian Guard, the pig guy from Jabba's Palace,
that's
just because
good
I'm amused that it's a character.
Yeah.
They kind of ran out at that point. They're like, what else has a weapon? That guy could fight from that scene.
Yeah. Oh, man. I wish that they would bring back that to Switch. I wish that was the next big port that Aspire was going to do or whatever.
That would be, man. They should. What the hell?
Yeah, what the hell?
I'd like it. I'm talking into the mic. Apparently, I'm still very far away.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Again, it's not his fault, people. It's the Discord audio. Which classic Star Wars game should not be ported / remastered? Should not. We just said Masters of Terraskazi should. So
yes, absolutely, it should.
So what do we know? But I guess if I had to think, I don't know, Yoda stories. I don't know.
People like Yoda stories.
I don't know.
Don't they?
I don't think so, but maybe they do.
I don't know. I was shocked that people apparently liked Bounty Hunter. I thought that game was real.
It's a good game. I like that game a lot.
Yeah, you like it too. So I don't know. Maybe Obi-Wan for the Xbox.
Yeah, there you go.
But now I'm almost kind of curious about it.
I know.
Yeah. Did they already do both Starfighters? That already happened?
Both?
I think so.
Both Starfighters? What do you mean?
There's Starfighter, and then there's Jedi Starfighter.
Right, yeah. I don't know if they did. I didn't know they did.
I know at least one of them did.
Okay.
Or
yeah.
On PlayStation or something. It was like a bonus for Battlefront 2.
You're right. And I think that was just Starfighter. Right? Because it was like...
Starfighter.
Yeah. Because it was the Naboo one. The one that had the Naboo ship on the cover. So that was just...
What about Battle for Naboo? The sequel to Rogue Squadron people don't remember.
Yeah. I downloaded that for my emulator and I haven't started it up. But yeah. You know what like LucasArts game they should port is that Blockbuster exclusive Indiana Jones Nintendo 64 game it was like a Factor 5 game and it didn't run on any emulators for years and I could never find it because it was a Blockbuster exclusive, so I tried to play it for forever and I only recently just got it working. But that game is weird that they made like a full 3D Indiana Jones game for the Nintendo 64 and you could only buy it at Blockbuster. Just a weird one. Last question, also from Revan. What is Squanch doing with Radical Heights? I have no idea. I'll check into it because I like Radical Heights quite a bit, but I will be surprised. Like it feels like it's missed its moment to come back. So I will be surprised.
What was Radical Heights?
Radical Heights was so. Do you remember the video game Law? Do you remember Lawbreakers? Yeah, Bosky.
Yeah, I thought it was that one. I was like, no, that's still a thing.
Yeah. Or I mean, if it was like, no, Bosky's not making it. Bosky closed down. They stopped making that, but then they sold it to someone else.
I know it's not done, but somebody else picked up the rights and
they're trying to bring it back. Apparently, like that's where it's at. But to me, it's like if it hasn't come back yet, like they're not going to bring it back. So I don't know. All right, Mike. We've been going for a while. Why don't we talk about some video games and get out of here? For me, it's more Bowser's Fury. And 3D World, 3D World. Still really enjoying those. But we talked about that a lot last week. So the other game I played this week was Rustler, and I posted a video of this. Did you check it out, or did you see anything from this game?
Wait a second. Is this thing just backwards? Is this better?
Oh no, it's way better.
Yeah, my brother took it, and it wasn't in the position I'm used to, so that was the issue.
Hey everybody! So all those times I said it wasn't his fault, it was Discord's fault. I want you guys to strike those from the record, please. I
had a big light bulb moment.
Oh God, I can't get mad because I've done that before. I think for 2 full episodes, but still.
Oopsie doopsie.
Welcome to Game Street Decides, everybody.
I guess we got to do it again.
Yeah, take it from the top. No way in hell. Rustler, did you see anything from this game? It's Grand Theft Horse.
What? Oh, I saw you upload a video that I chose not to watch.
That's fair. No, that's fair. But it's Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2, or Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, but with horses. And it's like medieval times and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fun. It's got a really good sense of humor. The horses, the night horses that chase you, have flashing red and blue lights on their heads, just like the cops.
Funny.
It's funny. It's just a fun game to mess around in, just like those Grand Theft Auto games always are. And I had some fun with it, and also it's a pretty good video. You should watch it. You wrote down here a whole lot of retro games, and I'm wondering. What have you been playing? What have you been getting into?
Well, I finally took the plunge and started modding my mini consoles. So first it was the PlayStation Classic, which it involves a USB drive.
It's a weird choice, doesn't it? Like even if you mod it, it still runs games pretty poorly, right?
No, it's pretty good. It
runs
something called Auto Bleem as the emulator, so it's a bit different. And at first I was just using some random USB drive and it wasn't great, but then I bought a USB 3 for it, and it's pretty perfect. It seems anyway. So I threw some stuff on there. Although on the PlayStation, I'm mostly playing Ridge Racer Type 4, which comes with it. And I tell you what, that's a game I did not care about when I was growing up. I never even cared about racing games very much, to be honest. Now, like Ridge Racer Type 4 I'm like obsessed with it.
Yeah, I saw you tweeting about this, and I'm like, that was a good game. Like those games are good, and that was one of the better ones for sure.
That's the best one. I think most people will agree it's the best one. If you like low poly as a look, this is the game that just is such a beautiful low poly game still, because like it has like low poly lighting effects and just the way it looks. It's so good looking, and the soundtrack's insane. It's like one of the best soundtracks ever, very easily.
Is it is it a licensed soundtrack, or I can't remember?
No, they just made their own kind of Euro funk,
right?
Electronica, beautiful mess of genres, and it is the chillest. It's chill, but still awesome to race to somehow. I have no idea why I like this game so much, because again, I've never cared about these kinds of games that much. But I love Ridge Racer Type 4. Like the campaign mode's even fun. You have 4 different companies you can race for, and each one's based in a different country, and they each kind of have their own stories, and you get new cars based on like how well you have to qualify to advance, but based on how well you qualify, you can get better cars and stuff. It's racing game from 1998, and I love it. I am obsessed with Ridge Racer Type 4.
It's no Beetle Adventure Racing, right? I mean, it's nothing.
So that was the big one, but then I started modding the SNES Classic, which is a lot easier because I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but it's pretty easy if you look it up. And unlike PlayStation Classic, you don't need a USB drive. There's a decent amount of internal storage on that thing for you to put things. It's
Right.
almost like they wanted you to, right? It's bizarre.
Well,
how
you know what it
easy
was?
is.
They probably were expecting to license more games than they ended up licensing, and they probably had leftover space. I bet that's kind of the way it went.
Yeah. But I've been
what
playing a
else?
bunch on here. But the big one was EVO. Do you ever play this game?
I've always meant to, because I've heard very interesting things about it. But I guess why don't you tell me about it? What was it? Was it good?
This is the evolution game where you
Right.
start off as like a fish in super prehistoric times, and you eat like the other creatures, and you can evolve your body parts, and you kind of work your way through to the age of man. It's just like a 2D action game, and a lot of it's like clunky and kind of not very well done. But the concept of it is very innovative, and it's just very different from every other Super Nintendo game. Like I played through it all like in one day. I was really enjoying it. Like the boss fights are kind of weird. There's no invisibility frames when you get hit. It's one of those things, so that
Right.
feels bizarre. But it's it's super fun to evolve yourself and to see what creature you're turning into. So I had an amazing time with that. And then just I've been playing a lot of random things. Terranigma, which is a Super Nintendo action RPG that only came out in Europe and Japan. It's by the same people who did Illusion of Gaia, and they did another action RPG. This is like the third in a kind of unofficial trilogy. I can't remember the name of the other one now, but this is one of like the best Super Nintendo games that never came to America, everyone says. So I was playing that for a bit. It was fun. Then I modded the NES Classic, and I played a lot of Tiny Toons Adventures on there.
That's a great game.
Yeah, it's a shameless Mario clone, but probably the best one.
Yes, absolutely.
Although
Mario 3, right? Like they were like even copying.
It's very Mario 3, yeah.
Right.
The difficulty curve gets a little bullshitty. Like the boss for stage 4 is started to annoy
But
the
just
hell
like
out of me.
as a kid, like I don't. I mean, a lot of times I would end up with cartridges and have no idea how it happened. It must have been friends came over and left stuff. Maybe we were trading. I don't remember. But that's a cartridge I know that I'd never asked for and ended up getting it somehow and just played it so much. And it was just like, it's like that magical revelation where it's like I didn't ask for this to be in my house, and now it's here, and now I can't stop playing it. It's just so much fun. And so just kind of discovering that as a kid, it's like, man, there's like a lot of great games. And this is another one. And I love Tiny Toons. I watch that stuff every day, and now there's this great game based on it. So it was like very magical. And I guess other than difficulty, does it hold up?
Yeah, obviously I'm more prone to enjoying older games still, but again, as far as like pure 2D platformers on the NES, it seems to almost be like the best one. Again, I consider like Mega Man more of an action platformer, but for just like pure platforming, this seems to be the best one that's not Mario. I'm sure I'm forgetting something weird, but it's pretty good. Real quick, Austin mentioned we didn't talk about No More Heroes.
Yeah, I was going to do the same thing. I was going to add,
and I felt bad, but I don't think either of us have much affinity for that.
Yes, I kind of never got into those games. I mean, people talk about them fondly, and maybe I should give them another shot. I think
I feel like I missed it. I feel like I can't get into it now. I don't know why I feel like that, because there's new games coming out, but I still feel like, well, I didn't play them then. I'm never gonna care now. It's over.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I mean, there's definitely something to that, but the people that are into it are very into it, and I guess it can't hurt to just give it a shot and see how I feel about it now. So maybe I'll do that. But what is like No More Heroes 1 on? Was that a Wii game?
They were Wii. Yeah, the first two were Wii games. I think the first two were, and then I think they got ported to some like Xbox.
That's a big reason why, because it's like, at a certain point you get over, like I think after Mad World, I just wasn't going to try very many
waggle action games.
Right? I was going to kind of I'm not going to waste my money on this stuff anymore. And maybe that was my loss for something like this. And so even when
it's a bit of that Conker's Bad Fear Day thing too, where it's like a big part of it is that it's crude, and I'm like, okay,
yeah, maybe not my style, but I don't know. I'll give it a shot. Yeah, I don't know. Any other games, or should we get out of here, Mike?
Yeah, just the timing. I've been playing Klonoa on the PlayStation 1 a bit, which is a super fun 2D platformer.
I could never get into Klonoa. I don't know what it is.
Really?
Really? Yeah.
Super cute and fun. I like Klonoa.
I
know what your problem is. There's too many cutscenes for a 2D platformer. It gets kind of annoying.
Maybe that's
I feel like for you that it's probably the issue. And I'm playing Streets of Rage 4 again for whatever reason. I mean, it's because it's great, but playing a lot more of that again at night. So
cool.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Cool. Well, yeah, it was a long show, a lot to talk about, but I think that should do it. So
And my microphone backwards for 9/10 of it. Good
yeah.
stuff.
Oh well. I mean, that's Game Speak Decides, everybody. That's just how it goes. Mike, why don't you tell people where they can find us, or find you specifically?
You can find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, TOLKOTO, and check out 90s Disney, my 90s Disney podcast at 90s Disney.
I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. Jeff Grubb on Twitch as well. I want to be streaming some more, but I need to get that new PSU. So
you teased me with streaming Balan Wonderworld demo. I need to watch you play that.
Yeah, honestly, we should just do that still. I have it downloaded and I haven't played it, so we should just like take some time and do that soon. Yeah, maybe this weekend if you get some time, I could just bother you and say, hey, come watch me play this. Yeah, you can find my videos, youtube.com/Jeffrey Grubb. And if you are listening to this, the audio version, we stream it live every Friday. We've been hitting that consistently for like the last year. Usually it's Friday afternoons. We did this one on the Friday evening. We'll let you know. You can always find out like when we're going to do it. Yeah, just follow me on Twitter. You'll find out for sure when it's going to happen. All right. And yeah, I guess that's going to do it. So we'll be back with another episode next week. And until then, have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Sorry about my microphone.